So how is this operation actually going to work? Let's bring in our military analyst, Sean Bell, who knows all about these things. Alistair was raising the question there, Sean, about when this aid is actually going to get into Gaza via this maritime corridor. What do you think? It's logistically complex.
It is. Good afternoon, Sam. I mean, what's fascinating, it's a bit fast-moving as we try and work out what's actually going on. Lord Cameron was very clear that humanitarian aid is urgently needed. He welcomed the fact the US was talking about building this pontoon, but that was all going to take time, and he put pressure. He said he wanted to put pressure on Israel to open up the Ashdod port in the meantime. Part of the challenge, though, that is that if we look at the map here, the Ashdod port is actually about here. It's actually still in Israel, and it's about 20 miles north of Gaza. So even if they opened it up, you'd still have the aid having to go through the land corridor in order to get into Gaza itself. So it doesn't actually solve the problem. Ursula von der Leyen, though, was talking about the first aid coming in potentially on Sunday. What that appears to be is the Open Arms ship, which is a vessel that docked in Larnaca over in Cyprus about 3 weeks ago. That looks like it's going to be starting the maritime aid corridor in and out. It can do a return trip in about 24 hours. Apparently, it can take about 200 pallets a day. It's a relatively small ship. We can see a little bit of it here, just on the side here. So its draft is only about 5 metres. So it's quite possible this would be able to get into Gaza's fishing port. What we don't know, though, of course, is how on earth they've managed the security situation, because clearly it's one thing getting the aid to the shore, it's quite another getting it off and distributed. But this appears to be what Ursula von der Leyen is talking about, which is a separate issue to what the Americans are proposing to deliver.
200 pallets, there isn't going to go all that far, is it? What kind of experience does, I presume it would be the US military that's taking the lead on getting this built, what kind of experience have they got with this?
Yeah, the US got a bit of experience, particularly with the amphibious operations at scale. And as you say, the scale is the important thing. 500 lorries a day is the need. It's very difficult to know what the size of pallets are that ship can deliver, but it's almost certainly been able to be less than 20% of the daily need. So to get it up, amphibious assault vessels, they could be brought in directly. They can go straight to the beach and lower there. But again, that would almost certainly not be the volume required. What you need is a deep water facility. The reason you can't put the big ships in to Gaza is the water's too shallow. If you could build a Mulberry harbour, if you remember back from the World War II, about 80 years ago, the idea was you build a harbour that goes out to the deep water. You can then bring the big vessels. Here's a picture of the Mulberry from that time. And of course, it means that you can go right the way out to the deep water. The ships come up to that. They offload either onto smaller ships or onto vehicles that then come across. This would take a while to build, but the US does have the capability to do that. One of the challenges, though, of course, once you get the aid ashore, if we look at what happened last time the aid was delivered to the beach, there were literally thousands of people running around the beach. There were gunshots heard at the time.
These are the images.
These people are desperate. Now, you imagine now you end up with some sort of landing with this aid coming in. How on earth are you going to control it unless you put a ground security force around it? Will that be Americans? Doesn't sound like they've got any appetite to put boots on the ground.
They don't want to put boots on the ground, do they? That's what Biden said.
Exactly. Or would it be Israelis, or would it be an aid organisation? All these questions remain to be answered. But it does look like the first vessel, at least, is available to start potentially this weekend.
Sean, for now, thank you.